The tea is extra hot today because it is your tea. If you haven't heard the news, you can submit a story to me. There's a form linked down below in the description. All right, this person wants to keep this anonymous. Help, I'm being bullied by a petty chiropractor. This may be a long story, so bear with me. I'm a business owner and I share leased space with a chiropractor. She has one half and I have the other. We have a shared bathroom, wash station, and waiting room. We both have similar physical medicine businesses, but do different things and have different licenses. Let's call her Magda. I'll be Vanessa. It started about 2 years ago. She would ask any front desk manager questions about my schedule and make passive aggressive comments. For example, she would say, "Oh, Vanessa's out again today? Must be nice." When I tell you I hate passive aggressive comments, just say what you're wanting to say and say it to my face. Here's a little backstory. I have owned my small business for 16 years and have 4 employees. She was a newish business owner at the time for about 2 years. Anyway, my front desk manager is a class act and would just politely say something and move on. This would continue every week, just passive aggressive comments. No big deal. But keep in mind at this time, I am also helping her by giving her patient referrals, answering some questions for her. I asked her to come with me to give a paid seminar and giving her suggestions when she came to me with some business problems she had. My front desk manager, let's call her Mary, was feeling protective of me and told me that she doesn't like some of the comments Magna was making and felt like she was just jealous and had a bad feeling about her intentions. Magda sounds like a real one. Magda had also asked Mary to work for her. I rolled my eyes and was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Maybe she has other things going on," stuff like that. I'm pretty busy and her being passive aggressive didn't rate high on my priorities list. I'm also not a competitive kind of person. Good on you. You are better than I. I just do my own thing and try to do my own business. However, I took what she said and quietly made a decision to keep my distance from Magda. That's when bigger things started to happen. Mary came to me and informed me that we were missing 25 pillowcases. I asked my other employees about it. These ladies have worked for me for many years. I knew that they would never take or put them anywhere other than where they've always gone for laundry cleaning. But I had to ask. I then sent a text to Magda. I never accused her or her 2 employees of stealing them. I simply said, "Can you make sure your team knows that we do not share a supply closet?" Magda immediately came into my office and asked me what was going on. I said, "We are missing a lot of pillowcases." She said, "Well, it isn't us. We don't even have the same fabric pillowcases as you do." In my head, I'm thinking, how do you know what fabric my pillowcases are? Yeah, Magda. How do you know? Unless you're touching my pillowcases. So now I'm pretty sure she took them, but I can't prove it, and I shouldn't accuse her without proof. I am annoyed. Me too. But I move on. 2 days later, I go over to our shared hand washing station and I see one of my towels being used as a dish rag. The audacity. I was the only one from my business there at the time, and I know I didn't do it. I asked Magda if this was her coffee tumbler on my towel drying. She said it was. Now I was angry, more about the disrespect than anything. I said to her, "Excuse me, why would you go into my supply closet, take a towel without permission, and use it as a dish rag? I don't take your things, don't take mine." I didn't yell, but I was firm in my delivery. But I was heated. Honestly, I felt so disrespected. I then sent her a text telling her that I was buying different color pillowcases to make sure there was no confusion and setting up cameras to keep everyone honest. Why do I love that saying? I just want to, keep everyone honest. Oh, God, that packs a punch. I'm gonna put that up here for when I need it. I then stopped speaking to her altogether unless it was asking for her share of the cleaning bill and water delivery services. Things were pretty icy between us, but no more incident for months until a few weeks ago. After I see a patient, I immediately go into our shared bathroom, wash my hands up to my elbows, use my nail brush, and then spray my hands and forearms with rubbing alcohol. She knows this because she asked me about what I was doing years ago when we were talking. Today, I do as I normally do after treating a patient. I go into the bathroom, wash my hands, and then spray. I get to my desk to eat lunch. My hands and forearms are greasy. I'm confused, but didn't think much of it. I thought maybe I forgot to wash my hands. Not likely, because I've been doing the same thing every day for 16 years, but whatever. I go back to the bathroom, wash my hands, clean under my nails, and then spray. Again, all greasy. I look at the spray bottle and there's oil in there. I dump it out, wash it, and replace it with rubbing alcohol. What is going on? I get to my desk and I am livid. At some point, probably Monday, the day before, she must have replaced my rubbing alcohol with oil when we were closed. I am in shock and disbelief. One being, what kind of psycho waits for months and does some petty BS like this? I mean, who has the time to even come up with that? Two, that is diabolical. If it wasn't me, I may even be impressed by the petty genius of it. Obviously, I don't have cameras in the bathroom. Illegal. Once again, I can't prove it was her, but I've had enough. I then picked an argument via text because she owed me money for cleaning services. She comes at me kinda nasty via text and I tell her that she now has to find her own cleaning service and water delivery. Mostly because I don't want to have to interact with her at all going forward. I haven't shown it, but I am pissed. I feel like she's bullying me. I've never done anything to this woman, and if anything, I've only helped her out before all of this BS started. I was going to retaliate by trying to come up with something petty to do back to her, but honestly, that isn't me. I don't want the bad energy of it, nor am I good at petty or passive-aggressive behavior. I feel like I'm a pushover in this situation, and unfortunately, it has gotten to me. Any suggestions? Clearly ignoring her didn't work. What else is this nut bar going to pull next? This is bananas. I can't even believe this nonsense is happening. It feels so juvenile. We are in our 40s. All right, y'all, we got to give some advice in the situation. I think you're doing the right thing by adding the cameras 100% and making it known, like, I got my eyes on you. And I also think you're doing a great job at being the bigger person and not stooping down to her level. But put your advice in the comments, you guys. Next story, but I'm taking a drink of water first, and you should too. All right, we're hopping on hydration station. Cheers. I hope you guys are having a good day. And thanks to everyone who sent in their story. All right, the next story comes from Lachey. I hope I'm saying names right today, but you shouldn't be that surprised if I don't. I'm a 51-year-old woman who has been with my fiance for 13 years. My problem is my mother-in-law planning our wedding to include our 7 grandkids. I have 3 and he is 4. Anyway, my mother-in-law said I shouldn't have kids there, but I plainly told her they were part of the wedding, so back off. I decided to make my dress by combing a few different elements, some of which are pieces of fabric from my deceased mother's clothing. That's such a beautiful idea. As well as some from my father who recently passed. This is such a pretty idea. I love that. It's off-white lace from my mom's wedding dress and white satin from their home. Don't laugh, but it's a bedsheet. You think I'm gonna laugh? I think that is phenomenal and also very special and precious. Anyway, I love how it looked and turned out. The only people who have seen it so far is my daughter-in-law who has been helping me. My mother-in-law got mad because I won't let her in on the dress. So she has taken it upon herself to go against me, and instead of the green we asked all women to wear, she decided on a pure white dress. What? So I decided to do something I really didn't want to do, considering the fabric is from my deceased parent. I have flipped the script on her. I intentionally dyed my dress emerald green, which came out in a multi-shade of green because each fabric took the dye differently. All of my granddaughters and daughters-in-law will now be wearing white. Holy, I don't think you understand how much I love this. I am a sucker for non-traditional weddings. I love it. I would be one to wear a pink dress on my wedding day and not feel like I have to wear white. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The next one wants to be kept anonymous. This is the first time I've written out my story. I still can't believe this was my life. This is long, so buckle up. In 2015, I was married to a man we will call Fred. I married him at the age of 21 in 2003. In 2015, we had an 8-year-old boy and I had just given birth to our little girl. She was 6 months old. She was my miracle baby and had spent 4 weeks in the NICU. Fred was in love with our baby, or so he acted. Our son was his best buddy. One day, I noticed that Fred had changed the password on his phone. I didn't see this as a red flag at the time. A couple days later, I found out that he had opened a bank account that wasn't with our normal bank. When I asked about this, he said he wanted to use it as a saving account for the kids and that he would take me to put my name on the account when we had the chance. Red flag number 2, we had a good marriage. He was a hard worker. He was a good dad. We weren't fighting. If you had asked me on September 14th, I would have said I had the perfect life with my little family. I am a teacher. On September 15th, I kissed Fred goodbye and we both went to work. Or so I thought. I decided to go home for lunch that day. I pulled into my driveway and noticed that something was wrong. Both of my husband's trucks were gone. That was weird. We lived in the middle of nowhere, so it was unlikely that it would be stolen. I shrugged it off and would call Fred later to ask about it. So I went inside the house. Something was wrong. Things were missing. Oh my God, he stole everything and all your money. Oh my God, tell me. Tell me that's what happens. I went into our bedroom, looked in the closet, and all of his clothes were gone. Everything that was his was gone from the house. Then I looked at the kitchen counter. There was a card sitting there. It was an anniversary card he had given me the year before. One where he wrote how much he loved me. On the back of the card was a note. I want a divorce. Do not call me. Well then, that was all the warning I got. My blood ran cold and I didn't know what to do. My life had just flipped upside down and I was so confused. We were happy. We had a new baby. We had a great little boy. He always told me that we would never divorce. I was so confused. I threw up then and I called my mama. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That would be awful. I'm like laughing because I'm uncomfortable. Trust me, this is terrible. She freaked out. She told me to call my dad, so I did. Dad told me to get the kids and go to his house, so I did. I went to my school and told my boss what was happening. She told me to get my kids and leave. She told me not to worry about it and take all the time I needed. Then I had to get my son. I had tears streaming down my face. He was at recess playing with his friends. I called him over, told his teacher we were leaving, and then I started hyperventilating. I made a huge mistake at this point. I told his teacher in between gasps that Fred had left. My son heard me. I will never forget the look on his little face. The look burned into my brain. He started crying, asking questions I didn't have the answers to. This is so hard to write down. Thinking of his little face is making me cry as I type this. Oh my God. No, I don't want you to be sad sending me these stories. Here I am asking you to like give all these horrible memories to me. I got my son to my car and we picked up the baby. I had to tell our babysitter what happened. I was hyperventilating again. She calmed me down and I drive to my parents' house. My brother took my son so that I could try to figure out what was happening. My mom called Fred's mom. She had no idea that he had left. She was as confused as everyone else. I finally called Fred. A woman answered his phone. If you guessed he was having an affair, you were correct. I mean, I figured there was more to the story. I just didn't want to kick you when you were down. But yeah, I'm not surprised. She gave the phone to Fred and I asked him what was happening. He said he was in love with this woman. We will call her Wilma. This woman was his girlfriend before he met me. Apparently, they reconnected on Facebook. I threw up again. I spent 2 days crying and wouldn't leave the bed in my parents' guest room. My dad made me get up on day 3. He took me to the staircase and pointed to an old wrench that he had hanging on the wall. He said, "That was my grandpa's. This is a symbol of strength of our family. You're hurting now, but you need to get mad. You need to be a mother. You're strong because you're in this family and we always pick ourselves up." Bam. Yes, Dad. And then he played a song for me. It was Phil Collins' I Don't Care Anymore. I listened to the lyrics and realized my dad was right. I needed to get mad. A mad, powerful woman is a dangerous thing, let me tell you. So I got mad. My parents and my brother calmed my son down and after a week, we went home. I got a sting of nasty phone calls and texts from Wilma. Okay, F you, Wilma. What are you mad about? She called me every name in the book and told me she was going to take my baby. I Wilma up. Hate to say it. That she was her baby and that she would take her and I'd never see her again. I called the police and tried to get a restraining order. They wouldn't give me one because she hasn't physically done anything to me. All these stories, those restraining orders are freaking useless apparently. Fred called CPS on me 3 times. Once the police showed up at 10 p.m. and made me get my son out of bed bed because they had a report that he was in danger. I got my son and they talked to him. They determined that he was fine. They spent months trying to make my life as miserable as possible. He filed for divorce and I had him garnished for child support, which he tried to fight. During this time, the stress of this situation caused his mother to have a heart attack. She died in January after he left. I don't wish that upon him, even though he cheated and sucks on how he handled everything. Do not wish that upon anyone. So my son lost both his dad and his grandma. He abandoned his children. My son is now 17 and still has abandonment issues and some anger issues. But he is my ride or die. We survived this together. My daughter is now 9. She hasn't seen her dad since she was 8 months old. Wow, he really just pieced the F out. Oh, I've got words and I can't even say them. Trust me, guys, if I can say what I want to say. Over the years, Fred has taken me to court 3 times. Once to try to get out of child support and twice to try to get custody. He lost every time. I haven't spoken to him in 3 years. So that was my life. I came home from work to a half-empty house and a note on the counter and my life flipped upside down. I'm remarried now and very happy. Thank you for reading. Sorry it was so long. Girl, who are you apologizing to? I want long stories. I want short stories. I want it all. I am so happy you have a happy ending. So happy. You have no idea. And those kids, let me tell you, those kids are so freaking lucky to have you. And I know it's not the same as having a father around, but a strong, independent mother, I'm telling you, it's gonna go far. That's a different level of strength. All right? You're amazing. Natasha Ann. So every Christmas, we have my mother-in-law come stay with us, my husband and 2 young kids. I wouldn't mind, except that every single year, she has something to constantly whinge, gripe, and have horrible remarks about. Our youngest child has severe learning disabilities, global developmental delay, and moderate to severe dyspraxia. Every Christmas, she stays for a week, but also has the nerve to complain that my son gets up too early, especially on Christmas morning. It's almost like you don't have to sleep here then. She about the food. We have traditional Christmas dinner. Our friends coming over on Boxing Day with their kids and how it's too noisy with everyone at our house. Again, it's almost like you don't have to be here. She doesn't care that she upsets the kids. She has caused countless arguments between me and my husband, and now I've got to do it all again from tomorrow. Listen, man, family issues suck because you feel obligated since, you know, it's your husband's mother, but at the same time, it's like if you're coming into my house, respect my house and how we do things around here. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Next story from Darlene Kane. Crazy ex story. It actually happened to a mutual friend after we broke up. I dumped my ex and went no contact after he went to prison for reasons that can't be discussed because of a publication ban to protect the child victim. Oh God. We'll just let my imagination run free with that one. Anyway, about 2 weeks after the breakup, he asked a mutual friend out. She told him that it wouldn't be a good idea. But he wouldn't take no for an answer. He kept asking. At first, it was only weekly, but it kept increasing. Finally, he was calling her 15 to 20 times a day, so she stopped answering her calls. What did he do? He started texting her as many as 50 times a day. So she blocked him. Then he started telling everyone that she blocked him because she was secretly in love with him. Yeah, that's what a Looney Tune says, let me tell you. Oh, she's just playing hard to get, ignoring my 98 phone calls this morning. She wants me. That takes like a special kind of ego. Next story wants to be kept anonymous. I'm from Denmark and there are a few things I need to explain before telling this story. First, we got a thing called SU, which means we get paid to take an education when we're over 18. Wow. Oh, I love that. How much we get varies depending on if we still live at home or by ourselves, if our parents are still married, and how far we live from them. Second, we can apply for help for rent if we don't earn much. Again, it depends on if we live alone or with a partner and how much our income is compared to rent. Now to my story. I was with an abusive ex for 3 years. We lived together in my apartment. Only my name was on the lease. I was on welfare while they were trying to figure out if I could work or needed an early retirement, and my boyfriend was taking an education. So neither of us had a lot of money coming in, which is why we got a bit of help with rent. This story isn't about what he did to me during the relationship, but what happened when I finally got the courage to break up with him. He packed his things and moved back to his father's place. I applied for more help for rent and was told I couldn't get more since he was still listed on the address. I tried moving away from it, but was told that since he moved back home, his father needed to sign papers papers that his son, in fact, had moved back home. As you can guess, his father refused. I was not going to guess that. They tried to claim he had 3 months where he was allowed to continue being listed on the address. This is only partly true. This law is when you tell your landlord you're leaving. You can stay for 3 months while finding someone else, and they can keep charging rent for 3 months after you give notice in case they don't find anyone to move in fast enough. You can't keep demanding to have your 3 months when you've already moved, especially not when you were never on the lease. This was their attempt to screw me over and make sure he kept getting higher SU. Oh my god, imagine your life being in the hands of your crappy ex. I couldn't do it. However, this is also fraud. Fraud I could get in trouble for because he was listed on my address. I wouldn't be able to prove otherwise if someone found out, and he undoubtedly would throw me under the bus. This was 17 years ago, and before we all ran around with smartphones to film interactions, so I couldn't prove I had been talking to someone behind a counter to get him moved away from my address. Yeah, so you can have screenshots of evidence. I feared I would get charged with something, and I struggled to afford food for the entire month because I was solo on covering all the rent and bills all of a sudden. Luckily, my parents were a great help and invited me to dinner more often that first month. I tried twice to get his address moved with the same answer, and my mother then suggested that she went with me to talk to them. I would not want to be in that confrontation. I knew she wouldn't be able to do anything because rules are rules, but off we went. Once again, we got the same answer. My ex's dad had to sign papers. I looked at my mom defeated, and she asked me if she should send my father to talk to his father. I forgot about the lady behind the counter and answered honestly that he couldn't go there since I had no idea if my ex's father would beat up my father. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the lady behind the counter's eyes widen. She did something on her computer and then said she had moved his address. I was of course confused because there was a rule 5 minutes ago that she couldn't do it. She said that in extreme cases they're allowed to do it, and she saw this as an extreme case. I honestly don't believe this is true at all. I think she saw my situation for what it was and felt sorry for me, but I was grateful nonetheless. I thanked her and we went outside. I don't know what came over me, but I needed the satisfaction of telling my ex he did not win this game. I called him and he picked up. I told him I had his address moved, and he of course said I couldn't do that. I informed him what the lady behind the counter had said, that they were allowed in extreme cases, and she saw this as such a case. He started screaming at me. I don't remember what else he screamed other than I couldn't do that. We already did. He was used to me going completely quiet when he screamed at me, but this time I just started laughing. Apparently me laughing like crazy just put him off and he went quiet. I stopped laughing and told him the final words I ever spoke to him. You no longer have any power over me. And then I hung up. I was surprised he didn't call back or try to text to get some sort of power back, but apparently he accepted it or he found a new target fast. I don't know, nor do I care. I still live in the same apartment. I got together with a wonderful man 2 months after leaving my ex. It might be quick to some, but I had feared my ex and wanted to leave him for 2 years before I finally got free of him. So I had moved on from him long before I left him. We got married after 7 years and we live a quiet life with our 2 cats. In 17 years together, we've only had 1 fight and it lasted less than 5 minutes. This life might seem boring to others, but I love our homebody lives in blissful silence. No screaming, no crying, no fighting. Just us and the beautiful sound of cats purring. Like you, Joss, I never wanted children. Cats rule! Woo woo! I'm more of a dog gal myself, but hey, I'm not, you do you. I'm gonna stop there because there are a lot of stories to get through, so stay tuned for the next round. And if you want to submit your story, the link is down below. I'm out of here. Stay classy out there, stay sassy, and I'll see you tomorrow.